we need to all be upstanding so that we can have the national anthem. Someone should be. Predict the words. Okay. We project the words, but you can read. Stand and sing, O Zambia, proud and free, land of wake and joy. Leaders in the struggle for their right, we for freedom's fight. Oh, one strong and free, one land, one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace is our sky, like an open eagle it is flying. Zambia, praise to thee, oh one, strong and free. Africa is our motherland, fashioned with and blessed by God's good hand. Let us all rise. We ask you to come with us, start with us, end with us. We pray for those who are still coming. May your angels be of service unto them. We remember those that have failed to come for this gathering. Give them the realized mind to know the importance of being in this organization. May you guide those that will be able to speak. May you guide them in all the endeavors. Be with those that are also organizing. May your blessings be upon them. It's in Jesus' name we pray with thanksgiving. Amen. Yeah, we can sit. Good evening once more. Yeah, my name is Engineer Kenneth Kanyiji. I'm the chairman for Kalumbila EIZ branch, and I'll be your moderator today. So it's good that we have gathered. It's good to attend these public forums. It's for our own good. So we have in our entourage the vice chair for the northern region. He has come together with the secretariat. We are going to have the proceedings. We won't take time I will ask now the Vice Chairperson for EIZ Northern Region, Engineer Zone. Let's give him a big hand.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your gracious introduction. Good evening, fellow engineers. I always ask, and the engineers seem to be timid in response. Is it a question of work performance, or you're not too sure whether you're engineers? Good evening, engineers. Good evening. Thank you. Well, on my behalf and on behalf of the Secretariat and the Northern Region, would like to welcome you all to this gracious meeting, hoping that we can share ideas and learn something from the presenters that are going to present to us. Also, we have come to encourage you as engineering professionals to take a leap of faith in your organization and to participate in the various programs that the organization has for you. We are always encouraging members to make sure that their membership is up to date. There are a number of benefits that you will derive from your membership of EIZ. But most importantly, it affords you the opportunity to practice as an engineer. Do you know that you cannot practice as an engineer without being a member of EIZ? Are you aware of that? Well, if you are not, we have come so that you can be members and that you can join the prestigious institute. We're thankful for you giving us this time to come and listen to our presenters, hoping that together we will learn something that will sharpen our engineering skills. We, as the Northern Region, are so happy because we seem to be the hub of engineering in the country. You know that the Northern Region is a hub of engineering in the country. We are the ones who produce wealth that the country is proud of. So I am proud, especially of you engineers, as members of EIZ, for the efforts that you make towards promoting engineering. And we're so thankful that you have come, and we hope that you will continue to be members of EIZ and continue to play your role in the expansion of the institution. On behalf of the region and on behalf of the regional chair, Professor John Sian, and on my own behalf, I'd like to say simply welcome.
Thank you very much, Chair. It's good, at least we are privileged to have our Vice Chair. It's good, we always meet in Kitwe. Today, at least you have seen where Kalumbila is. This is the home ground of the actual name the branch has taken. Without much ado, we have the first presentation, which will be presented by a craft person, master craft person, Peter Chikasi. He's got years of experience. He's been driving the industry from way back. So he's here to take up. I won't waste your time. You are here, you can start.
Good evening once again for engineering professionals. My topic is on decision making and empowerment. So, in decision making and empowerment, we are going to look at the introduction, then decision making itself and empowerment, and then conclude. The last one will be conclusion. So we go to the first one, which is the introduction. So as engineers, I've been in the mine industry for over 35 years now. I started from Rwanda, then I went to Tambisi, Tingola, that is in Changa, and now I'm at Rwanda. So people find it very difficult to make decisions. And unfortunately, we all have to make decisions in our life for something else or the other. Even things as easy as whom you are going to get married to, or how many children you are going to have. So we all make decisions. So in our everyday activities, we have to make decisions. Because those decisions are actually going to affect where your direction will go. So others resort to making decisions by maybe tossing a coin. Some will look at the stars just to see what the stars say for the day, and then that's when they'll move. Okay? So any one of you can choose to say, today I don't want to smile, I'll just be sad, or I'll just be very serious, I don't want to smile. But then you have to look at the repercussion. And actually, right now, decision making involves choosing between possible solutions to a problem, or decisions can be made through either an intuitive or reasoned process, or a combination of both. So in intuition is using your gut feeling. I think this doesn't look right. And this mostly depends on your experience. You've been doing that job, or you've been in various areas for a long time. Now you use your intuition to see what should be the right course for my decision. What should I do? But in reasoning, it's using the facts and figures that are just before you. So in reasoning, you need to gather information. Because when you gather that information, it will now assist you to make a decision on what you're going to actually do. But in that sense, you might as well ignore some aspects, some emotional aspects in the decision making. Okay? So effective decision making, when you make a decision, you should be capable of implementing that decision. Because if you can't implement it, why do you decide to do it? Okay? So you have to be committed to the decision personally and be able to persuade others who are going to come into that. Okay? So you need to be committed to that decision that you have made. So there are, however, some pitfalls or some delays that can come in making a decision. So you don't have enough information, so you want to gather more information in order for you to make a decision. So you might ask around, if you want to marry someone, you ask people that know that lady, so that you know whether that lady will be suitable for you. At the same time, when you have too much information can be conflicting, such that it leaves you now in a state of not moving forward, because you don't know what to do. So you need to ensure that the information that you get is just enough for you to make a decision. You might have a lot of people. When you meet as a committee and you have to make a decision, everyone has got his own perception. So it becomes as well difficult for you to make a decision. It could be vested interest. Okay? People have got an interest in whatever is happening. So having hidden agenda will make it difficult for you to come to an agreement and therefore decide. Or it could be emotional attachments or no emotional attachments. All those are factors that can prevent you from making a decision. Now, what we need to know is that decision making is something that will make you move forward. If you don't make a decision, then it means that everyone will queue up, waiting for you to make a decision. And when they queue up, then everyone will know that you are the bottleneck because you can't make a decision. So what comes now? What should you be given? It's now what is known as empowerment. Okay? So the meaning of empowerment is you are given authority or power to do something. It might be that you've become the supervisor. So if you become the supervisor, you're going to make decisions that will affect other people. So you need to be in a position to make the right decisions at the right time. So making a decision or not making a decision, both can be, we can say someone, no, I've decided not to make a decision. It's also a decision. But then you have to know what are the repercussions to that. So you have to empower the people in your workplace. You need to do the following, that is cooperate with others. 2, you have to empower everyone so that everyone is able to make a decision. Always be positive and be appreciative. So you ask them what their goals are. Help them to find their strength. You should always lead by example and give your team the autonomy, meaning that you need to give them space. You need to make them feel that they are important in the organization so that even when they make a wrong decision or they come with a decision that doesn't look right. Mind you, a decision, what you decide to do today might be good today, but tomorrow it might not be good. So there is a need for you to review your decisions once in a while. It might be good to this team, but it might be bad to the other team. So your decisions should always look at the circumstances that are surrounding. Okay. Now, in conclusion, decisions are necessary for the organization to continue to move on, and the engineering professionals at all levels need this skill. Because if you don't have this skill, then I'm sorry, you won't move. Because everybody will be waiting for you to make it. What is the boss going to tell us? But since you don't have the skill of making decisions, it will be very difficult. When you are given a chance to act in a position or an engineering professional, you need to make the organization continue to move in its objective. For example, you have someone who is acting in a position. He's been given the authority to decide, to make decisions for the organization. But then he's waiting for the person who is going on leave to say, when he comes, then he is the one who's going to make a decision. It will be very frustrating for your team members because they will say, why did they leave him there then? So you need to make sure that you continue moving. And when you are in a position of authority, you need also to empower others so that they are able to make decisions. If you are always shutting up everyone to say, that's not right, that's not right, then no one will be making decisions because they fear that the boss will not be happy if I say this. So you need to give chance to your team members so that they can come up with their suggestions, and then, yeah, you can make the final decision if you want. Yeah. So thank you very much. I've just come to the end of the presentation. If there is anyone who has some questions, I can allow 1 or 2 questions.
Thank you very much. For the questions, just write somewhere. We'll have time for questions and the answers. I've seen some people taking videos. You are free to do that, but again, I'll make sure I get your emails or your phone numbers. I can send you the presentation so that you can be able to go through and also appreciate. Yes, there are good things that our engineering professional has taught us. In decision making, he has told us that at one time, every one of us will need to make that decision. Okay? He talked about you have been given a chance to act. You are acting. But you find some people are still sending phones. Boss, can I sign this form? My friend, when you are given the position to act, it's the office that you have taken over. That's what I've read from what he was saying. He has talked of empowerment. Empowerment is something very good because these are small techniques that we require. You see, you can be a skilled person, a technician, a craft person. If you have these things in you, you will be able to excel because these are the free. You see, these courses when you go to other areas, you need to pay. But look, the institution is giving us free of charge. So it's good that we've had. Now we'll go straight into the second presentation by our able engineer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everyone. My name is Engineer Zanga Sibowande. My maintenance electrical engineer within Kalumbila mine. And what I'll be sharing is an implementation we did on one of the shovels that we have here at Sentinel Mine. So this is a project that was carried out on PC 5506E shuttle. That's an electric shuttle powered by 6.6 kV. So this project was done by myself and Edwin to work hand in hand. And this presentation will highlight the implementation of a maintenance computer on that shuttle. So what is this PC 5500 shuttle? Because not all of us have had the privileges of actually seeing it or working with it or seeing it in action. So from this slide, we can see that this shuttle has several sections that make it function the way it functions. So the Komatsu PC 5500 shuttle is used in open pit mines to load 4 trucks. So those trucks that we see, whether it's a 777, whether it's an 860, a 960, or a Libe T284, those are the trucks we have. We use such loading units to load our copper ore as well as our waste, depending on what's being mined. So this particular shovel is powered by 2 900 kilowatt motors by ABB, and it has a bucket capacity of 29 cubic meters. Then the combined power output is actually 1,800 kilowatts, which then is used to drive the hydraulic systems controlling this hydraulic machine. So it's the motors run at 1,500 RPM, and obviously 50 Hz frequency because we're in Zambia. So just briefly, this is the layout of the shovel. So the 6.6 kV is applied to the shovel through the cable drum so that it can be able to move. So we have slip rings, brushes, obviously to maintain continuity as it's moving backwards and forwards. Then we have an isolation box, that terminal box, where we have our isolators and slip rings here to allow the shovel to swing without breaking continuity with the high voltage power. And we have what we've labeled as the switch cabinet, which is where our 6.6 kV goes and where the power is distributed through an onboard transformer for the auxiliaries, and the 6.6 kV goes to our electric motors through vacuum conductors that are used. So the motors are just started direct online. And for power factor correction, we have capacitors delta connected for that power factor correction. And the power factor of this machine is 0.95. That's what it operates as. So having had just a brief overview, obviously due to time I can't go in detail. So what was done on this particular shuttle? So what was done was in the Komatsu design, they input a maintenance computer to assist with maintenance. What they have is a contracts monitor, which also doubles as an operator screen. So that obviously will tell you that the functionality will be a bit limited because you're combining between giving an operator something he can use and also giving maintenance a tool that they can use for their fault finding. So we decided to install a maintenance computer to help maintenance, and throughout the presentation we'll actually see what benefit that brings on board. So what was the reason of having this maintenance computer installed on this electric shuttle? So the main reasons were to speed up troubleshooting on the machine during breakdowns. Because you have instances, I'm sure all of us have been in situations where you go for a breakdown and you find you don't have the literature that will help you solve that breakdown. You don't have schematics, or you're missing a certain page, or there are all those things that delay us. We may think we're just being delayed by 15 minutes, but when you look at the overall effect on production, it's actually quite significant if you calculate all those. Then it's also used, as I've said, to store critical information like schematics, manuals. Then it also helps us to monitor the PLC of this machine. Because for you to access the program, you need to physically go there with your computer, configure your IPs to match what's on the machine, then you're able to connect to the machine, which actually takes up time because not everyone is able to connect at their first attempt. So this maintenance computer will enable you to be able to access the program just by accessing the computer itself. And another benefit is that you'll be able to perform VHMS downloads. So I'm sure most of us would be more conversant with VHMS. So you're able to monitor the health of the machine because that's the vehicle health monitoring system. And the benefit of this is you're actually able to do VHMS downloads from your office. So the maintenance screen isn't just something that will stay on the machine and can only be accessed from the machine. But the end game is actually to access it from your office. You can sit in your office and you start controlling that maintenance computer. So you can access the program of the machine, you can access what you want to do, and you can be doing real-time monitoring as the operator is operating, and that will enable you to actually do predictive maintenance because you'll be able to tackle breakdowns before they happen, because you'll see some trends that will be going against what's normal. So this is basically the setup. So we have interface with the machine. This is where we connect. We can use Ethernet. We can use serial cables for VHMS. So this is the point where we plugged in our maintenance computer. So we haven't modified what Komatsu designed the machine to be, but we're just tapping into what's already there and making that information available to speed up our troubleshooting. And once that information is available, obviously it will then go through the mine network and we're able to interact with that information. So the main materials that were used, we had a GLT computer, which was used as our HMI screen. We had obviously cables, 2 core 1.5 millimeter, mounting brackets to hold the computer came with the computer itself, and we had our cables which we've already talked about. Then the duration of the installation. The main tools that we've put on that maintenance computer are Odyssey software, which is the software that runs on that Shuttle. Most Siemens machines would have step 7 because that's what Siemens uses. But for this particular machine, it actually uses Odyssey and the Canvas network. Then we have VHMS, obviously for the VHMS downloads. Then the MTC project configuration, because the MTC is actually the PLC of this machine, is the main controller. And we needed VNC to be installed to enable remote monitoring, or VNC is actually a tool that you can use to monitor something remotely. So we set up a server locally on the computer, and we're able to monitor it from our office. And obviously, special requirements, we needed to obviously isolate the machine whilst all that is being done. So quickly we'll go into how the installation was done. So the JLT computer, or our maintenance computer in this case, is powered by 24 volts DC. So it's a very low voltage, and the controls of this machine are actually 24 volts. So we did have to start looking for how we convert from AC to DC or try to find a power supply. All we needed was just to add a breaker and then do the wiring from this X2 cabinet, which is a control cabinet. It's below the operator's cap, and find a way to route our cables to the operator's cap. And the next slide, shows us how we did it. So this was done during the PCR project. So the machine was being overhauled, and we took advantage of that because the operator's cap was removed, which gave us easier access to run our wiring from the X2 cabinet all the way to the operator's cap. Otherwise, if the cabin is still there on the machine, it's very difficult to do that because you have confined spaces. Then basically this was with the installation done. So what we have in our first slide here, in our first picture, is the harness that we ran from the X2 cabinet going all the way to the operator's cap. Then here in the center, we actually have the inputs going to our maintenance computer. So we had our Ethernet, and this is our 24 volt power supply. Then this picture just shows a real view image of the maintenance computer showing the mounting brackets, which are adjustable. It can actually rotate 360, which helped us in that application. So this is how the maintenance screen appeared after the installation was done. So if we can be able to visualize this, let me just take you back to this slide which shows the layout. So where we put the maintenance screen is actually on that portion which was the proposed area where we wanted to put it. And that's where it was installed. So as you can see, there was no provision for that, but we found a way to include that maintenance screen. So commissioning, as we are nearing wrapping up. So once the commissioning was done, obviously after the installation was done, the computer and communication interfaces were tested. So we wanted to find out this maintenance computer that we installed on this machine, is it actually able to communicate with the machine, or is it just sitting there like an ordinary computer that you can mount anywhere? So we're able to actually use it to configure the MTC program once the PCR was done. Because of that complete overhaul we did on the machine, we needed to reinstall the program. So we took advantage of that. Instead of plugging our laptop to do that. We decided to actually use the maintenance computer. It was able to connect to the PLC, and it was able to configure the machine. Because the reason for configuring the machines after a shutdown is when the program resets, you have so many versions of these machines. You have the 8,000, and they use similar programs. So you actually physically have to manually choose what applies to your machine. That's why you have to keep reconfiguring it. Then this was just the HMI being used for condition monitoring, because you're able to see the logic on the machine. Then what was the cost benefits attached to this project? Because every project should have a benefit. It's not just about implementing something and applying engineering, but there has to be something that management will look at and appreciate. So our total cost of implementing this project was $6,232. Then we looked for other aftermarket alternatives out there. How much would it cost to get an already set up, already programmed HMI with everything you would need? The supply is there, and you just plug and play on your machine. It was actually costing $47,860 for you to get that. So looking at that price difference, we actually saved 86.98% in implementing that project. Just in the implementation, even before we look at the benefits it brings on board. So the extra benefit it brings on board, we can see the difference in cost. So the red shows the 47,000, which is the aftermarket cost of implementing such. And what we implemented locally just costs, I think, 13% of that price, which is actually a significant saving. Then the other benefit that this maintenance computer brings on board is that you have reduced downtime, which will obviously translate into thousands of dollars saved in maintenance costs. Because the less maintenance you do, the more maintenance costs you actually save, because you have your maintenance budget. So the less maintenance you do, the more you're saving, because you'll be within your monthly budget. Then it also leads to increased machine availability. And this translates into higher production per hour, which now translates into generating more income, because the more you make the shovel available to production, the more money that the mine is able to generate. So it helps improve the availability and equally improves the reliability of the machine. So you're actually making the machine more efficient, and we can talk about benefits of increased or improved reliability, but this is the benefit that we can talk about for now. So this is our last slide, and it just highlights the measures we put in place to control that new thing. You know, when you introduce something new in an environment where people have worked for years, you need to put guidelines so that there is no abuse, and so that everyone can adjust to it and then utilize it to its fullest potential. So we limited software access to electrical engineers, coordinators, and technical advisors. Obviously, so that everyone who accesses the program actually knows what they are doing. Because if you open it up to everyone, then you have situations where you have human-induced errors, which would impact our reliability negatively. So we allowed access to schematics and manuals for the technicians. So how we did that was we just put a password in that maintenance computer. So everyone is aware of the access of the passwords, every technician, but the program is password protected. And then that password for the program is restricted. That's how we did that control. Then online monitoring we talked about, done on a daily and weekly basis, and password protected we talked about. We also locked the USB ports to prevent people from adding malware to that computer. Then what challenges did we face? As we're wrapping up. obviously when doing our software installations, we wanted to use Windows 10 software, but we had compatibility issues. So we settled for Windows 7. And for remote monitoring from our workshop, the rubber tire workshop, we had some issues with configuring the DNC server and getting that done, but we were able to establish a successful connection. And the last challenge that we had was the limited space, because we were adding something that wasn't part of the original design of the machine. So we had to find a way of incorporating that maintenance computer without affecting the already existing systems of that machine. Then the learning outcomes obviously is the implementation of continuous improvement projects, because this was a CPI, and also project management was also a learning outcome. So this is where our presentation ends. Thank you for your time.
Very good presentation, engineer. This is what we have to encourage. You see, for your information, these mines that we have here have the biggest shovels, the whole Central and Southern Africa. Okay? That's why it's good. I came with the reliability engineer. I said, look, there are shovels here. These are the things we are going to. I came also with one of the modular guys, the ones who look after the remote controls and also making sure our communication is on. Very good presentation. You have seen what we are supposed to do as engineering professionals is to add value. You might have a machine in your workshop. You understand it better. There are certain innovations. When you add, what the engineer has done is he has done an innovation. Okay? The Siemens did their part, the Komatsu guys did their part, but he has added. You make engineering is about making your life easy. And that it's good that we are able to see these things. Many of the things we are doing, we don't document them, but we need to bring them out so that we can be able to add our thinking and be able to at least make our life easy. It's really very good. In Romana, we have the same shovel, but a bigger version, PC8000. Okay? But the working principle is the same. As engineering professionals, our job is to know the principles. These principles are what will make us, even if I was to leave this place today, I go to another place, I should be able to work without problems. Our master craft person was telling us about decision making. When you have seen that you can be able to add value to something, you need to bring it out. So this is good. We need to add some more. So we've been writing questions, and I know we are live the whole Zambia. But there are people also who might be interested in the presentations that have been given. So this is the time now where we can be able to ask the questions, be it for decision making, be it for the PC 5500. Now the floor is open for questions. I'll take 2 questions, or 1 question, and depending on where it is pointing, then we ask the person to be able to answer. This is coming from online, like you said. Yes.
Like you said, Chair, sorry. Like you said, everyone is watching, and we have a question. participant who's watching us live, and the question is to the electrical engineer. How do you empower electricians with high voltage certificates, authorization to work independently? I think this is a double question. It's a double question. How do you empower? It's a double question. Have you heard the question, both you and our area president? How do you empower electricians?
Maybe I'll ask our dear engineer to come in. Just for the sake of the engineering professionals at large. In electrical, we have the training that we do in our different institutions, be it trade schools, be it university. You do the training, high voltage training, but again, there is a certification now by the Mines Safety Department. So when you have that certificate, you might be working here in Kalumbila. You can go to Copper Belt. That certificate is valid. The whole Zambia. It goes for 3 years. So when I go to another mine, I don't need to go and be retrained. What they'll do is look at the certificate, this person is authorized. And there are questions which they give to the HV electricians so that they can prove. MSD comes in just to make sure. MSD stands for the Mine Safety Department. They've got seasoned engineers who have been in the industry. They give practical questions where maybe they'll ask you 11 kV or the 3 kV line has fallen. It has dropped off. What's the sequence of you going to rectify that? So you find through this, by virtue of you having the practicing license from EIZ plus also the certification by MSD, it means you are marketable. Okay? Many mines give the critical allowance to differentiate between someone who is doing HV switching and the one who is not doing HV switching. Okay? So you have an added advantage. Okay? So like for me, at one time I worked in the Chikuruma mine. I was CEC certified. And that certification which CEC gave me for 66 kV was used as part of the CV when I joined Rwanda. They said for him to switch 66, then he can do 33, then he can do that. So through that, through you having a good CV, you can join any industry. Okay? The other thing is the working principle which our engineer was talking about. As he was explaining, he can get a job in Rwanda, he can get a job in Kasanshi because the working principle remains the same, but it's the variability. I can assure you, Copper Belt, they've got small machines, toros, electrical toros, but the electrical shovels, big ones, are found here in Kalumbila, Rwanda, and Kasanshi. So, do not believe yourself. You are empowered by virtue of you knowing how to repair these machines. That I can assure you. And there's no one who has left these mines who is just loitering. 3/4 of the guys now are in Australia, some in New Zealand, many of our engineering professionals. But what we should look at, what is key for us to develop our country. You might have the skills, those skills are not to be taken out. We are supposed to use these skills to develop Zambia. Because Some of these countries, we can be quick in going to there to take our skills, but you won't be allowed to take your money back here. So when you reach there, they'll give you a BMW, they'll give you a big house, you'll be paying for those things. Meanwhile, your friend who is here is building a house. Someone will sleep there. So that's the empowerment our brother was telling us. So I was asking the engineer also to add to the same. Engineer.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, the believe Chair has answered the question. Yeah, so he's already talked about empowerment for electricians. So the question was, how do you empower electricians with high voltage certificate authorization to work independently? So I believe Chair has explained that side, but I'll explain internally. Let's suppose how we empower the electricians within our sphere, within our workforce. So when trainings come up, the highest priority, actually the electrician. I won't be the highest priority as an engineer for the training because the one who spends 90% of his time on the machine is the electrician. So he should be the highest priority. But it's an error that in a few places we find that some people may push themselves towards trainings, even when the training will not benefit them. So maybe it's just an appeal for us to, in our various places, to always prioritize the high voltage electricians, because by empowering them, we are also making our work easy because we're making them more competent to perform their duties. So the empowerment is there both within our workplaces and also by EIZ and other institutions.
Yeah, just to conclude, it's just today when we had a meeting where the business partners were saying, why don't you give us this switching certificate? We also want to know how to do this switching. But the answer was exactly what we have said here. The person has to first get the basic knowledge of electricity. Then from there, you can now be trained. This time, MSD wants us to call the people like the Kafue Gorge to come into the mine, train the people on HV switches. Then from there, we move to certifying them. It's very important because once you are certified, you'll be marketable. You'll be marketable. It's not just a question of salary. This job, for me, I've now 27 years practicing electrical. So I've moved from just being a mere technician all the way to management. I've seen what our dear engineer was talking about. It's very important. If you empower yourself by knowing, you see, what is most important is to ask where you're not sure. Okay, is there any other question? Yes? Give you the mic. So all of you see.
My question is directed to our engineer and it's connected to decision making. How easy was it, or how difficult was it for you for this management by the innovation idea?
Thank you for that question. So usually when you want to implement a project on these machines, there is a laid-down procedure that needs to be followed. So obviously, the first step was, in spite of having the idea and how it would be implemented, I needed to follow procedure and do a change management form. So what that change management form elaborates is exactly the aim of the project. It will bring out the problem statement. It will explain why this project will be necessary. So obviously I had to bring out the negatives first, the problem we're trying to address, which was obviously things we shared here. So we talked about the amount of time we're spending on breakdowns. We talked about even unnecessary downtime. Imagine if someone needs to do a VHNS download on the Shuttle and they need to stop the Shuttle so that they can plug in their computer and do that download. That's unnecessary. You can now do it from your office. So all those times you stop the Shuttle, you no longer need to do that. So we brought out all those problems and the proposed solutions. And obviously we showed the cost benefit to say if we were to get an aftermarket or if we were to engage the OEM to maybe provide something, it would obviously be more costly than this $6,000. So when all that was done, then I had to involve others as the superintendent. I had to partner with Edwin, who I also put on the presentation. So it's not a one-man's job, but it's a collective effort. Because if you're going to go solo in this industry, you hardly get anything done because you need people to support you. And when the department was supportive, obviously they could then talk to management, even at their level. And that's how it went through. And it was implemented during a PCR project because we had the machine down for over 35 days. So that was enough time to implement it. I don't know if that has addressed your question.
Very well articulated. Yes.
My question is
Okay.
my question is maybe to you or to you because you are representing management of the IZD in Kalumbila. So you mentioned something about the benefits of you being a member of the IZD. And one of it is because you are allowed to practice engineering. But are there any other benefits for us? And then the second one is about what I've seen from our colleague here. So if you have an idea, for example, you've done some projects like this, so how does it get to you so that you may be invited to share that idea with the rest of the engineering fraternity? And yeah, I think that's all.
Yeah, thank you for that question. The thing is, there are a lot of benefits for you to be a member of EIZ. One, if you are a paid up member of EIZ, if you are to die today, as long as your name is in the system, there is money that EIZ will be able to pay your family. Maybe the figures I can be helped. Is it 35? 30,000. So if you are not a member of EIZ, they won't give you. But if you are a member of EIZ and today you die and you are registered, the secretariat will pay that money. Then two, if let's say you want to get a job, this time look at the advocates which come. First thing they will say should be a member of EIZ. Okay? That's why we're taking this opportunity to come and be with you. The secretariat for the branch is very far there. That's why we say let's follow. Because there are times when we know that you people are busy producing. So, in fact, through the vice chair, the Romana engineering professionals are saying The same presentations we have done have to be done also that side, because they cannot leave the mine and rush here. But if we take it that side, they can also spare some minutes to come. Because we sent this invitation to the whole mine, and there was overwhelming response. But it's just the transport issues which has derailed. So that's we'll be able to discuss, but through you, that's what they're saying. So there are a lot of benefits. And two, for you to progress in the industry, you need to network. Okay? Networking means, so like for now, I need to know what he was doing. We are working on the same machines. He might have a solution. I might have a solution. When we network, we'll be able to find all these solutions. Just imagine, he has already explained. If he was not able to convince management, we were not going to give him money. But he managed to tell them, look, we spend hours looking for problems. But here we are. We can see the problems in the office. If it's hydraulic leak, you hear him tell, oh, there's hydraulic leak. You send the people to go and fix. These are things. Me, I was punished by my boss. The punishment was, I cannot be going to check meters in the substation. So I want to be checking on my desk. Exactly. And it was like a job. That's Eddie Sampa. He's now the GM for KCM. We thought it was a job. He says, you engineers, you have the knowledge, me, I'll provide the money. So give me the solutions, give me what I need to buy so that I can be able to check them. And that was done. This time, at Chuguma, they are able to see things from the office. So these are things which you people, the engineering professionals, are bringing on board. Yes, another question for me?
Thank you. I really want to stress the point. You know, I always want to interact with engineers. The simple reason that what seems to be less of importance to you actually be the breakthrough that we all needed. The ideas and the innovations that have come through are helping not just you, not just me, but even the people who are listening across there have similar problems. Like he said, we network because we need to share ideas. Developing countries, undeveloped countries, excel because he doesn't hide the information. Get that correct. He doesn't hide the information. If we hide the information, then we're not going to excel. And this is what EIZ has brought to the fore. We have come all the way to you so that we can bring the information and the ideas and the innovation so that together as a country we may grow. Imagine if he did that information. Would then be able to help him? We don't want you to die so that we can give you the 30,000. We'd like to give you the information, which is more valuable than the money. Is that okay?
The other part is, as engineering professionals, we need to be able to get ideas. There's a point that our dear engineer has brought, which is very cardinal. He said, for the training, it's not him as an engineer to rush for the training, but the people who are on the ground, the ones who are doing the work, those are the ones who are supposed to go for trainings. Okay? A good example, the time we were doing the GMP upgrade, we and the superintendent for process plant in Romana, he remained. The group went to Germany. They came back. Now they are implementing that on the ground. So it's very important to be able to empower So do not believe yourself because I'm a skilled person or I'm a craft person. Everyone is important in the engineering field. Another question, please. Yes, engineer. Engineer, will you introduce yourself, please?
Thank you very much. I'm Linyadi. I'm a reliability engineer from Rwanda. I just want to appreciate Engineer Lam for the good presentation and the wonderful innovation. Because I'm coming from a background where most of the time, in terms of fleet management and resource monitoring, we usually outsource vendors to provide a solution, and it definitely comes at a huge cost. So thank you very much for that. I would just want to have a detailed report on how exactly everything was done, so I can also try to pick it up from there. I know there are issues of patent and things like that, but it's very important that we share ideas as engineers. And I've got just a few questions to ask on the project itself. Like on the softwares that were using VNC for the system, did you program them yourself or you had to purchase them from vendors? Because I know most of these licenses, you have to purchase them and obviously you have to be paying fee at certain interval. And then the other question is on the computer itself, the power setup. I didn't see how it's powered, because obviously it's using a battery over time. We need to have like for it to be on. So did you tap also from the cabinets, or you have to be going there every time again to charge it?
Thank you for that question, engineer. Yes, that's what I'm happy about. Being a reliability engineer is not just a thing, but to be able to find out what is happening.
I think I'll start with the last question you asked for the power supply. So that GLT computer, it's just like maybe a laptop, but the only difference is it's just a touch screen. Yeah, and it does have an internal battery that can hold charge for some time. But the reason I was showing where we're getting power from, I talked about us actually including a breaker. Yeah, so we're getting the 24 volts from our low voltage cabinet because that's where the 24 volts is. So we have our high voltage and high voltage cabinet, our auxiliary transformer steps into 380. Then we have our 380 port this side and our DC port on the other side. So we got it from the DC port, which will always have power, whether you're on battery power or you're on AC power. So that maintenance screen, so long as the batteries are connected and not isolated, it will always be on. Then on your second question for the softwares, yeah, so Codices, yeah, that one is a purchase software. So we bought that software. Yes, then VNC is a free program. Yes, you can easily find VNC. But if you just Google it, it doesn't require subscription. Yes, because you attach passwords to VNC. So that brings about the protection, even though it's a free software program. So only Codices needed buying as well as VHNS. But SQM already has licenses for this software, because VHNS is also used on the tracks. So it's the same license being used because you've already subscribed. So it didn't incur extra cost.
I'll take the last question. Looking at the time is running. But feel free, the other questions can be sent by email. And also, I'll give you my phone number so that we can be able to interact more. We'll have more of this, though some the other things will come later. So really can ask.
Good evening. I'm Benson. Just a follow-up question. I think the second question was not really answered, or maybe I missed it. On the project, how do they, when you have a project, how does it reach you? Like, how did they manage to reach you? I think that part was
Okay. All right. It's good now that we have been able to meet. There is the John Sendo. He's the craft. He's the in fact now he has the I'm told he has the upgraded. He should now is it a technician or yeah? So Sendo is on the Kalumbila branch. Exactly. So you can take questions to Sender, or if let's say you have a project, I'll give you my phone and also the email, so that if you have such, you can be able to contact us. We'll be able now to be able to take this. Some of these projects are very good because when you do it properly, we can even take you to Livingstone to go and present it before the whole nation. Okay? So it's the interaction that you need to increase. Many times we'll be able to come here, sometimes we need to go that side so that you also be able to appreciate what the other engineering professionals are doing that side. Otherwise, every project will be taken so serious. Okay? So now that he's here, you can take them to him, and I'll be able to know. There is also Deborah, the one for Prudence. So all this, I'll leave our eco engineer with the admin part, so that he can add all of you on this Kalumbila EIZ forum. That's where we throw this so that you can be able to know what is happening. All these announcements which Secretariat sent, they reach in that. So we'll be able to, I'll give you, then you'll be able to. There are already many engineers who are here who are already on the forum. But for the sake of you, get in touch with him. He can add you on the forum. Then you'll be able to bring up those. Thank you. So, as I said, it will be, we can't go on. People have to go and rest. Otherwise, in my closing remarks, I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank Secretariat for this noble cause. You might look to be few, but what you have gained, yep, okay? What you have gained is more important. Okay? EIZ will only grow when we have people who are committed to this institution. We need people who are committed. When the meeting is called, find time. Find time, even if you have busy schedule, to be able to know. I can assure you, for you to be empowered, you have to move. You have to attend meetings, especially this one. Mind you, everyone who has signed on that form, you are given CPD points. These are continuous professional development points. You as a member, if you don't have those points, it means in future, there is registration which is coming. You cannot renew if you have no CPD points. So, meaning, the Secretariat has come closer by having a branch here. So that if they say you want, we have an innovation within us, we meet, we inform Secretariat that we have someone who is going to present, like a project you are saying. then we will be able to inform Secretariat. They will give you CPD points for that. So no one will claim that no, EIZ is very far, or we don't have transport to go that side. It's up to you to attending this for us, then you'll be able to increase your knowledge and also your networking. How did I meet him? It's through EIZ. Whenever there's a meeting, we meet. You're coming from Kalumbila. They see me. They're even happy saying you. All the way from Kalumbila to here. Yes, I drive. I go there. Come back. So that information we'll be able to share on the group. So I thank you very much, and please let's continue. EIZ will only grow when we have people who are committed to this cause. Otherwise, I thank you very much, and I submit. Thank you.
We have some refreshments up if you are willing. Patrick. Thank you.
Oh, I just, if there are people, just a quick one. Yeah. We have new forms for joining EIZ. Okay? They've removed some of the parts where they needed you to have a proposal and seconder. So I'll leave some of the forms with our dear engineer here, so that those who are not members but want to join, you can be able to join. Okay? It's very important for you to be known, to be in the system. If you're not in the system, you can have your degree, you can have your diploma or craft certificate. It is not known you are practicing illegal. When you there are even inspectors who can even prosecute you for practicing illegal. Okay? So these forms soon they will be just online. For now, they've given us. So I'll leave some here. I can also share them online, so that those who want to join and those you know that my colleague wants to join me, I said you can be able to do that. Thank you.